Hey, okay, boys. We're kind of here with something different. Um, I don't really know what to do. I want to post something, but oh, please do not pay attention to the absurd amount of tabs that I've opened at the top. I was doing schoolwork, which is for the reason for all my Google Doc tabs. I just have a bunch of other stuff open, and a bunch of Warframe tabs. But yeah, we're doing something different. I'm kind of out of content right now. It's 1 in the morning. Distant learning is not really the vibe. I have to wake up for a 9 o'clock class. I don't really care about it. So I said, why not go to r/NoSleep? This is my favorite subreddit. If that's just called subreddit, yeah, it's my favorite subreddit. I just like reading scary stories. So I thought, why not read a scary story for the zero amount of people that will see this video? And yeah, I'm kind of just vibing. So I guess I'll read it out loud. Hopefully my voice isn't that bad and you can bear with it. So the title of this story: I've been trapped inside the empty prison for the past 2 years. We shouldn't have tried to escape. Submitted 14 hours ago by color blindness. I never really knew how comforting 4 walls could be. There are 637 bricks on the east of my cell, 1,236 on the south because of the slope. My cellmate Ricky always used to say, that's so when we take a leak we aren't standing in our own piss. He's the reason I wound up there, at the Kingsport Correctional. God bless that crazy old fort. We used to do a lot of drugs and deal in... That's not proper punctuation, okay. We used to do lots of drugs and deal guns back in the day. We were young and stupid, and in need of a fix. Getting caught was part of the thrill, Ricky said. I've been to Kingsport a couple of times now. Nothing major ever happens here. We're pretty low on the totem pole. You'll basically be living a good life for the next few years. Freedom to work, meals. It's like luxury, for real. That's what he told me. That changed in 2018. We woke up one morning to discover that all the guards were simply gone. I say that lightly because it actually took the majority of the first day to be absolutely sure. First thought was that they had drugged us and taken us into isolation. But as the hours ticked by and we didn't even hear a peep from the meal carts, Ricky and I began to suspect that something strange was going on. Hey bud, what time is it? Rick asked once we had waited for both our breakfast and lunch. Probably around 3:30. Guess they took the day off, Bud said. I wasn't so sure. The routine of the prison was something I had gotten used to, so the idea that it had just suddenly stopped didn't sit well with me. Something was up. But since the majority of the cells near to me decided to sit on it, I did too. Morning came though, and still no sign of the guards, so Rick decided to make a pick for our lock and go investigate. You mean you have known how to break out this entire time? I teased. Never. So much. Never. Oh. My bad. Never so much point to it. Running would just lead to a longer sentence and stricter punishment. I'd like the cushy life, he said, working the cell and finally getting the lock loose. The door made a rusty screech as it opened with a swing, and Rick and I stepped out to get a better view of the hallway. Most of the equipment was still running like cameras and lights, but still, there wasn't a sign of any life from around us. Come on, I know the way to the security room, he said, bounding up the stairs. I kept expecting one of the bigger guards to jump out from somewhere and take us by surprise, but it never happened. Instead, we arrived at the small room without incident and quickly found that it too was abandoned. Stranger still, though the feeds were running. There was hot coffee sitting on the dashboard near to the monitors, and even a cell phone was sitting there without being touched. It was as if the entire sector had decided to go on break, and at the same time. Ricky checked the feeds and frowned, moving from camera to camera. What's wrong? I asked. Just look for yourself, man. I ain't seen a single soul outside of the prison. There's nowhere. Anywhere, she said. I did check and confirmed it, but didn't know what it meant. Maybe it's some kind of safety inspection they didn't tell us about, I asked. More like a rupture if you ask me, he said, sourly as he sat up and thought for a moment. Well, let's go check the kitchen, see what supplies we can get. Then see how far we can get to the perimeter, he told me. We managed to find a few canned goods and other ingredients in the pantry. But again, there was no sign of life. And once we reached the edge of the kitchen, we were stuck. Employees' only computer accessible areas were off limits. Why do I get the feeling we become like rats in a maze? Ricky asked. I tried to make the most of it. Over the next few days, we managed to let the rest of the prisoners out on our cell blocks loose, but it was basically like releasing wild dogs into a larger pen. So many of the prisoners were just as confused and frustrated by the sudden lack of interaction by the cars. They didn't even know what to do. Guess it showed how dependent we were on them. By the end of day two, we determined what areas we could go to easily. Most of the block was available, including the showers and the kitchen, so bathing and food wouldn't be a problem as long as we rationed properly. Ricky and I gave assignments to different prisoners, but some didn't take the situation as seriously as the others. This has got to be like that social experiment back in the day. Maybe they're just messing with our heads and trying to see how long we survive down here without any help, a prisoner named Max suggested. It was easy for paranoia to set in, especially because we couldn't go very far. They could be right here. They could be right there on the other side of that floor, laughing at us. Mac added. "Settle down," Ricky advised. "Don't tell me to settle down," Mac growled, pointing a meaty finger in his friend's face. Tensions only grew from there. Eventually, it was decided that if people couldn't get along, then going to their cell was the smartest choice. We need to have some kind of order around here. Pointless to speculate, and even worse to start fighting amongst ourselves, Ricky told me. But I could tell he was already starting to lose his sanity. Fights broke out a lot that first week. Gangs that had bad blood with one another used whatever they could find to mark territory, and one older person named Abe even died during the skirmish. We had to move his body to the freezer to avoid it sinking up the place. All throughout the entire experience, the cameras kept recording. Ricky tried several times to unlock the cell phone we found in the guard's room, but to no avail. We were basically cut off from the world and struggling to survive. After that first week, though, the panic died down. This new set of circumstances became the norm. We kept waiting for some signs that this was all going to be over, that we could go back to what we were used to. But then a month passed, then two. That boiling apprehension and anger we had toward one another got stronger and stronger. They're never coming back. They're gone. Hell, the whole world might be, Max said one day after we passed our rations. After 53 days in the cell block, we were scrapping by on just a few final canned goods. Our reverie and excitement from that first taste of freedom now transforming into bitterness as we realized we would soon starve. It wasn't long after the water stopped working and the place stank worse than a pool of maggots. We needed to try and escape, someone finally suggested. Ricky was too tired and exhausted by that point to argue. We had been thinking that eventually rescue would come for us, but now we were past that point. We needed a way out. Over the next month, we sorted out different ways to pass from our block to another and finally agreed that the airplane would be the best choice we had. A small Mexican prisoner named Carlos agreed to crawl to Ward A and get help. And after finding a few old schematics up in the guard room, we decided it was time to act. So, the little guy grabbed a walkie and we helped him into the crossways, praying that the map and the tools we had at our disposal would be enough to help him. An hour or so later, Carlos did manage to get into Ward A, but it wasn't good news. The radio crackled to life with his voice. "There's no one here. It's like a ghost town," he said as we heard his breathing increase. "Wait, I see something off in the distance." We held our collective breaths and then listened as Carlos began to scream. This is a thug that has been with the cartel for ages, seen people die in front of him, and we listened to him scream and run. Suddenly the receiver went dead, and all of us shuddered, unsure of what had happened to Carlos. We waited another hour to see if he would try and call back, but all we ever heard was static. Something beyond these walls had killed him. "Sounds like we're staying put to me," Max said dryly. The group was in agreement, at least for the moment. Whatever terror had struck Carlos was enough to scare them all into submission. But it wasn't the end of the nightmare. Oh no, not by a long shot. What happened the next few days made it far worse, actually. It was Ricky's perseverance to get the phone unlocked that paid off. Because we kept that goddamn thing charged, and someone finally called us. I remember grabbing it and feeling my heart stop. This was our last chance of freedom, at rescue. "Hello, this is Sam Cavalier, cellmate 75664 of the Kingsport Correctional." I told whoever was on the other end, but instead of the voice, I heard alien gibber, followed by a countdown. That wasn't really that scary. I feel like the story wasn't finished. There's no way the story's finished. Oh well. It was pretty. I mean, I didn't really understand some parts of it. Nah, that's not what I'm trying to say. I'm saying the wording was phrased weirdly at some parts. I'm just a retard. I'm just stupid, big stupid guy. Oh yeah, let's read this. Out of quarantine. Submitted 3 hours ago by the Drunken Tree. After 23 days, I hardly recognize fresh air. Since February, the nearest I come was Dr. Arnold's cologne, faintly contaminating the forms he brought me to sign. Being outside almost leaves me breathless. Though my dreams are never this tangible in detail, I can't shake the fear that I'm still asleep, that Dr. Arnold never came this morning to lock my door, that I'll wake up in my compartment, Dr. Arnold in his biohazard bunny suit securely outside the glass door. When I went in, we were still in deep winter. While I've been locked away, undeniable signs of spring had broken out. I smell flowers, grass, dew moist moss. Somewhere nearby, Bradford pears are in bloom. The sour stench is unmistakable. I've been locked away while all the world woke up, all my life. 44 years. I've hated winter, lived for the days when the world would turn green again. But this year I spent my first spring days behind glass. I've completely missed the crocus. My wife Nita sent photos of them blooming in our front yards. I'm sure she meant to cheer me up, but they only highlighted my hopeless isolation. A small cloud drifts away from the sun, and I feel its full strength for the first time since February. The sunlight makes my head swim. The facility's LED lamps were bright but small, unbearable to look at, but spreading only a modest light. There were special high-intensity ultraviolet LEDs as well, casting sterilizing light over the room each day during my disinfecting shower, and searing germs from the shower as I ate a nutritious, tasteless breakfast. The sun warms my shoulders as the breeze blows cool air around me. Just 2 nights ago, during a video chat with my wife, my diagnosis was so unclear and no release in sight. Lita told me she thought she'd rather die than be locked up in quarantine, away from all the sunlight. I told her that she was silly, but after she hung up, I cried myself to sleep for half an hour. It was worse than she could have imagined. Thousands of little star-shaped wildflowers dot the lawn. I've seen these all my life, but never known their names. There are several kinds, some with 4 petals, some with 5, all tiny. I bent down. The nearest had 5 pointed petals, brilliant, white with bright violet veins. Singly, it's too small to smell, but in their thousands, they gently coat my sinuses with freshness. Nearby is the chump. Why did I say chump? Nearby is the clump of dandelions not yet fallen to the gardener's diligence. The yellow is dazzling in the bright sunshine, the purest colors I have seen in weeks. All the yellows inside were dull and brownish, or pale and weak. The colors are dried mustard and oozing pus. I had to squeeze bacteria at the fear of being shut away from dandelions. I don't know why he compared it to pus, but I like how this man's flowing with his words. The grass, half weakened from its winter dormancy, it's hardly less vivid. A green to wash the memory of pain from my eyes. It smells impossibly alive, like the odors of disinfectant, of fake citrus air freshener, of cotton sheets crisp from the laundry, heated nearly to the scorching to kill any germs. For the last 2 weeks, I had to make my own bed. Nobody allowed in my compartment. If there had been anything to tie to them, I might have used the clean sheets to make a noose. Instead, I lay flaccid upon them, defeated. Dr. Arnold keeping on telling me not to give up. Beds of butter and cream jewel clothes line the sidewalk. A few early tulips have sent leaves and bud stems, but not yet open. Why couldn't I make this facility's interior as cheery as the landscape? Rounding the corner, I see Bradford pears flanking the parking lot. The crown's explosion of corpse white blooms. At the end of the sidewalk, I'm not saying that, stalks wave higher than my head. Yellow blossoms even more radiant than the dandelions. Around them bloom pansies, pink and purple, faces bobbing in the gently breeze. A break from the pervasive yellow and white. Where's the car? After 3 weeks, I barely even remember the parking lot. I dig out my keys and press the lock button. A bright chirp leads me to the left. Even the sun-warmed asphalt smells wonderful. Coming close, I switched to the unlock button. I hear the driver's door unlock. Quietly, I open the door, toss my small bag across, and slide into the seat. The car's interior is hot from the sun. The heat, too, is a wonderful thing. Under its locked cover, the thermostat in my compartment said the temperature was always between 72 and 74 degrees. Too cool to sleep with just a sheet, too warm to sleep under a blanket. Even the water was regulated. The sink and the claustrophobic shower both had temperature limited nozzles. If I turned on too much hot water, the flow choked off. The cold water was no lower than room temperature. They never served me iced drinks or hot coffee. Everything was barely warm or just cool. This time I let the tears flow for a little while, leaning back onto the hot leather, breathing its rich scent. I can understand why I've been quarantined. They had to know if I might be deadly to others, but why had they made my environment so cheerless, so bleak? I lost my temper with Dr. Arnold this morning when he brought me the final test results. To announce my days here were at last over. Why hadn't they let me have heat or cold or color? He had no answer beyond this is how it's done. I wiped my nose with my fingers, sniffing hard and blinking. The quarantine is finally done. That's all that's important now. Soon I'll be home with Nita. I searched for my car key. No, this is a push button start. Fancy. Thumbing the button, I listen to the engine rumble and purr. My tongue leaves behind a faint smear. I lean back again. It's time for me to go, but I'm so lethargic from weeks of inactivity. After Dr. Arnold told me I was leaving, he had to urge me, nag me really, to get off the bed and pack a few of my personal effects. I guess my lassitude was why Dr. Arnold came along this morning. He mistook it for apathy. After he told me I was fatally infected, was dangerously contagious, was being transferred to even more secure facility. After he told me I was fatally infected, was dangerously contagious, was being transferred to even more secure facility. After he told me they'd be bringing Nita into quarantine after I sluggishly packed my bag. After he unlocked my compartment, his bunny suit sealed tight, he expected me to walk out with him. So now I have his car and the gun from the front security desk. And the gun from the guy in the biohazard transport van as well. Once I get home, I guess I'll give one to Nita. Nobody's taking us out of the sunshine again. Not when the dogwoods are ready to bloom. That one took a turn for. That one was crazy. That was so nice. I liked all the sentences in that one. Yeah, that's all I'm reading for now, but that was a nice way to end it. Good job, Broken Tree. I'm upvoting that for sure. That was nice. I like that one. I like that one a lot. Alright, so yeah, no, that one just really took a turn for the worse at the end. I was kind of expecting that he broke out of quarantine, but the way he did it was so weird. It was weird when he just started saying, cause for a second I thought my man was actually releasing and something else was gonna. I thought he was like just gonna get home and like they were wrong, and then he was gonna infect his wife and she was gonna die and stuff. But I didn't really expect for him to be super contagious and being told about it, and yet he just said fuck you and killed Dr. Arnold and every other man in that place and said fuck y'all, I'm going home and getting my wife and we killing everyone that coming after us. That's a true alpha move right there, bro. I hope you all enjoyed the video. I actually like reading those 2 stories. They were pretty nice. The first one, I just wish it was complete because it just didn't seem like it was complete. But the second one, this one was nice. The words were flowing. I liked it. I liked everything about this one. Alright, so I'll put the links in the descriptions of both these if you want to go read them for yourselves and upvote them if they seem pretty nice to you. And then, yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Boys and girls, signing out.